Peace, peace, Black people. Welcome to Yemima's World. We are our ancestors, the Jelly Moose's Cafe. I am your hostess, Yemima. As always, it's good to be Black in the land of the living once again. It's been a week that I have done an episode. I haven't been feeling, excuse me, my best. My back has been in pain in my left side, and I have to wait until I go see my new doctor before I can have any testing done to see where the pain is coming from, so I know how to treat it. So keep me held up in love and light. I would appreciate that. Before we get started, like, share, and subscribe. I'm still trying to grow the channel, and I appreciate all of my subscribers that have subscribed so far. All right, so let's get into it. Criticism or feedback. Now, what prompted this episode was a few weeks ago, I posted on Facebook about a movie that I had watched. It wasn't really a review, but more of a comment. And the movie was The Woman in the Yard, starring Danielle Detweiler. Now, I absolutely love her. I think she is amazing. I loved her in Teal. I loved her in The Harder They Fall. I absolutely thinks that she should win an award for the piano lesson. She is an amazing actress. But I just could not get with The Woman in the Yard. And it may have just went over my head. I don't know. You might look at it and think that it's the best thing since um, sliced bread. I don't know. And I don't know what genre it would be in. It wasn't sci-fi. I don't know what it would be. But feel free to look at it. And then I also saw her in Parallel. And there was another movie with Aldous Hodge, which I watched because he's in it, because he's just one of the sexiest Black men in Hollywood, if not the sexiest, one of the sexiest men, period. And I didn't like Parallel either. Another movie, which I don't know what the genre would be, but that one kind of went over my head too. So I don't know. But my friend on Facebook made a comment, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember what it said verbatim, but it was along the lines of Black people critiquing other Black people's work in public, I guess, in front of company. And first of all, I don't like the word critique or criticism. I prefer feedback. I prefer either giving positive feedback or corrective feedback to someone's work. And so I decided I would answer him. He asked, "How do I deal with that?" Because I do give a lot of feedback on my social media about different things, movies, books, uh, songs. So, and it is out in the open. It's on their platform. I don't own this platform. It's owned by the Palm Colored people. So, and they are going to listen to this. All of the people that listen to my episodes aren't Black, so they're going to hear it. And I don't think there's anywhere that we can go where we're going to have a total Black audience that we talk to. But yes, we should definitely give feedback to other Black people, regardless of what the situation is. It doesn't matter if they are entertainers, if they are social workers, if they are doctors, if they are restaurant owners, whatever business they are in, we are the ones that need to give the corrective feedback because we are the ones that their business may be affecting positively or negatively, meaning the Black community. And so, yes, we definitely have to give corrective and positive feedback. I think that when we stop doing that, what we get is sexy red. When we stop critiquing the rap music world, when we stop giving feedback, I should say, to music that's out now, we end up with a sexy red as a role model for our young girls. And that is absolutely crazy. I think a couple of years ago, she even went to a school, an elementary school. And for the life of me, I don't know what elementary school held whatever kind of event where Sexy Red would be the the speaker, the keynote speaker or guest or there, period. Um, our young Black girls look up to her. And it's unfortunate that we have a lot of young Black mothers, not only the young Black daughters, but the mothers of these young Black daughters are looking up to Sexy Red as a Black woman who's getting that bag. No matter how she's getting it, she's getting that bag. Now we know that the people that are pulling the strings for Sexy Red, the people that are behind Sexy Red, are palm colored people. And they know exactly how detrimental someone like her persona is to the Black communities. What better way to have Black young girls to look up to something like that, and they would never aspire to anything? That's what they think. So that they will keep pushing that into the communities and into young girls, the images. Now, I know that back in the day, they had some women who sang songs that were just as raunchy and ratchet as Sexy Red. But back then, we didn't have instant social media. You couldn't hear a Millie Jackson or those other women that sang those songs unless you bought it on vinyl. And parents back then weren't buying their young girls those types of records on vinyl. You couldn't turn on the TV and go to a cable channel and see Millie Jackson. And she's the only one that comes to mind. I know there were others, but she's the only one that comes to mind right now. But you can now. Kids can put on their earbuds, and their parents don't know what they're listening to until they start rapping Sexy Red music because it's easy access. And so we have to give constructive feedback to these things that are easy access to our young children in the community so that they don't have it. Um, so yeah, we have to critique and we have to feedback. Now, when it comes to Tyler Perry, and you see on the picture there some of his movies, and I will admit it, I'll take that bullet that I am a critique. I criticize his work. I do. I haven't seen any of the other stuff that's been on. The last thing I looked at was The Last Straw or Straw, whatever it was. And the only reason I'll watch that is because Taraji P. Henson was in it, and I absolutely love her. But I haven't watched any of his other stuff. I understand that the other Netflix show that he had, She the People, has now changed the name. And I'm sure it was because of the lawsuit, allegedly, because of the alleged lawsuit that the woman who owned a company called She the People sued them. And so he changed the name. Now, instead of owning up to the fact that he took that from her and paying her, instead of paying her, he changed the name. But yes, I am a staunch critic when it comes to his work. And the reason that I am is because I know he can do better. I know he can do better. I've seen him do better. When he first started out, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, his work was not that bad. It was actually pretty good. And I think the reason it was pretty good then was because it wasn't a one man show. He had a writer's room, he had other people to help direct, he had other people to help produce. Definitely must have had somebody else that was doing the wigs, So, and he had less money than he has now. And the more money he has, the crappier crap he puts out. And so I critique his work. I used to give feedback. I used to give positive feedback or constructive feedback or, you know, um, but now I critique his work. But again, because I know he can do better. And he will continue to put out crappy stuff as long as his fan base continue to accept it. They will always accept whatever it is that he puts out. Now, do I think that his work is detrimental to the Black community? Not as a whole, I don't. But I think that to young Black women, it could be detrimental in the fact that every time they look at his movies, they don't see any really successful Black women that have a successful career, have a successful family life, have a successful relationship with a Black man. There's not one in his TV shows or his movies. Now, the part that I do believe that is detrimental to the Black community is that a lot of his stuff is becoming soft porn. A lot of his movies are showing Black women in the nude. And I don't like that because white movies don't do that. You don't see white women naked on white movies. You don't. But in every one of his movies, um, there's going to be a Black woman that is naked or a Black man that you get a backside shot. Or there's going to be an orgy in the middle of the movie for no reason. And I think that's detrimental to the Black community in that Black women have always been objectified and always have been seen as sex object, and you keep showing that in your movies, and women can't see that. The women that are his fans, they look past that. They won't they can't stand to see Beyonce, who's fully clothed in her concerts, because they think she's demonic. But Tyler Perry can have a whole orgy of Black women butt naked, simulating having sex. And that's okay with y'all church folk. Okay, let's move on. Another reason I think that we should give constructive feedback and um, give feedback that can change things is because if we don't, again, it won't change. I have a friend of mine, excuse me, I have a friend of mine who lives in Richmond, Virginia, and she owns a restaurant. And when she first opened her restaurant, the food wasn't bad. The service wasn't great. The food wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. But she knew she could do better. The reviews were, the restaurant is nice atmosphere, nice ambiance, it's Black owned. She got Black people working in it, but the food isn't that great. And she knew it. And so she ended up on the TV show where, and I can't think of the man's name, that goes in and turned restaurants into, great restaurants. And so he went to her restaurant in Richmond, Virginia, and he was there for a week. And he turned her restaurant into something great. Now she has 2 restaurants. And they're doing well. And when celebrities come into Richmond, they've heard through the grapevine about her restaurant and they go to her restaurant. But had she not received that constructive feedback, she would have never thought to change her restaurant. If people had just said, oh my God, this is the best food, this is the best restaurant. If they had said that, she would have never changed it. And she probably wouldn't have been able to open a second restaurant. So yeah, we have to give feedback. And then the problem with Black people saying that, Tyler Perry gives Black people jobs and he pays them so much money. And again, he's not the only one. Kerry Washington worked for Shonda Rhimes on Scandals, and she was one of the highest paid actresses on television. Viola Davis worked for Shonda Rhimes, and she was paid well for How to Get Away with Murder. The Black cast on Grey's Anatomy were paid well. So he's not the only one that is giving Black people a chance. So we can't keep saying that we're going to keep supporting no matter what he does because he gives Black people jobs. So I have a question for you. Let's throw out a scenario. So what if a restaurant, say a couple that goes to your church, you don't really know them, but they go to your church and they decide to open up a soul food restaurant in the Black community. And part of their restaurant, they have a program where they will employ formerly incarcerated people to get them, working again back in the community. And so you think that's great. You're giving Black people a chance, incarcerated people a chance to step out and make something of themselves. And you go to this restaurant and the food is nasty. It's disgusting. It's not even considered soul food. It's disgusting. And you go to this restaurant one time and you think, okay, maybe they had an off night. I'll go back again. Anybody can have an off night. And you go back the second time and maybe even a third time. And all three times the food has been absolutely disgusting. The services was good. The ambiance was good. The food was nasty. Are you going to keep going back to this restaurant and giving them your hard-earned money just because they employ Black people and former inmates? Or would you leave a review something like, I applaud them for employing formerly incarcerated people. The ambiance was nice, but the food wasn't that good. They really need to change their food. And if enough people leave that type of review, then the restaurant would probably figure out how to, like my friend did, improve their food. So if you never critique or give constructive feedback to anybody, no matter what their business is, they'll never change. And you'll never see how great that person can be, because we all have our shortcomings. Black people, we are dope. We are freaking dope. We are the innovators. We are the inventors. Everybody copies us. Everybody. So we have to give them the best. And when I say them, I'm talking about us, the Black community. I don't give a plip-plap about those palm-colored people. But we have to give each other the best. I'm a theater person. I used to do theater. And I had one of the harshest directors, which I absolutely love her to life. But if you get up there one night and your performance is shot, you can believe that at the end, when we used to have meetings after every show, she was going to tell you, what the hell was that? What did you do on stage tonight? Don't let it happen again. So yeah, to my friend Steven from Facebook, yes, it is very much okay for us to give feedback or criticism or whatever it is you want to call it, constructive feedback, constructive criticism, whatever it is you want to call it, we should do it, because if we don't, they will. They do it all the time anyway. But we can't say that we like something that is detrimental to the Black community just because it's Black. All right, so that is it. It was longer than I thought than I wanted it to be. Until next time, you know the drill. Love yourself, love each other, give yourself some grace, give each other some grace. We are our ancestors. Honor your ancestors, they will honor you. Until next time, stay Black, stay African.